So you all set to go? We are out here, West Hartford Center today. Thanks for joining us, folks. A little bit different podcast for us today. We're going to kind of in a guerrilla mode out here in West Hartford Center. And we're talking with Matt Banever of Daswani Clothiers, a 30-something-year-old family-run business. Is that right?
42.
42. I'm way off.
Yeah, it was close. Thought you were talking about my age.
Yeah. No, we can talk about that later. Yeah. That's cool. So thanks for, we talked about this, and we are in the midst of COVID-19, a coronavirus, so we're trying to figure out a way to change things up, but I don't want to stray too far from current events. So this is Behind the Brand still, folks, brought to you by DirectLine Media. I am Dave, and we are the home of the famous 60-second video. Just got to throw that in there. So, Matt, just to get everybody familiar, just give us a quick rundown. What do you do at Daswani?
So at Daswani, I'm the sales manager, which is pretty much everything on the front end of the store. I oversee all of the merchandise product going from the back of the store to the front, looking over reports, sales tactics, making sure inventory is always up to date. And then also I do a lot of the buying. We're going to the trade shows quarterly. So pretty much a little bit of everything, and then also heavily involved in the community outreach, social media, a little bit of everything.
Nice. How the trade shows, are they mostly New York? Where do you go for those?
So it's pretty interesting. Back in the day, it used to be very centralized. There was a lot of main hubs, and nowadays it's very spread out. So you could say that there's a New York trade show happening this weekend. You go to the city of New York, and there's about 27 different trade shows happening. So if you're like Daswani and you're a little bit more high-end tailored clothing, I'm picking this hotel, the Javits Center, this hotel to go to. If you're something where you're doing a little bit more accessories, you're probably going to a totally different area of New York. So it's nice that there's a little bit of everything. So for us, if we're looking to, say, get into more like jewelry and accessories, we know that we can go to this area, but for us, that's not really the main reason that we're going to these shows. But there's New York, Boston, and Vegas and Chicago are the main ones. Then there's a couple other ones in Philadelphia and whatever.
Nice. Now, do you go there to buy fabric to make clothes? Do you go there to buy clothes to figure out the new lines for the season? A little bit of everything.
So it really depends on kind of the quality and tier that we're working with. So if we're looking for more ready to wear, so everything that I'm wearing is from Daswani. A lot of people think of us as the suit store, but we do a lot of ready to wear, and it's nice for a time like today when most people aren't wearing suits. We can lean into more of our sportswear, casual wear. So we're going to these trade shows to see pretty much everything, to see all the shirts, everything. We look at maybe 5,000 button-down shirts. And then over the course of time, we rattle it down and we pick which ones we like, and then about 30 or 40 make it into the actual store. We're picking what patterns, what sizes, what fits, every single one is. And then sometimes more of the high-end tailored clothing, those guys will be set up in a hotel, like in the London or something. We'll go into an executive suite and they'll sit us down, they'll wine and dine us, and we'll look at fabrics and we'll say, I want this fabric in a suit and I want this fabric in a sport coat. So depending on what department we're picking really depends on where we're going and how we buy.
So do you have your own line of sport coats and suits, like a Daswani, custom Daswani, not whatever the brands are?
No, we do. We have dabbled with it a little bit more, but now that there's been such a rise in specialty business, and we've had several decades of success with what we've been selling, we're capitalizing on that and introducing our own line. So this is our second season. We've got our own line of suits, sport coats, pants, and outerwear. And it's been really nice because we can go on what has been working for us in our store, what people like, and we can also experiment a little bit more. So we can detail the lining, buttons, threads, and also the way we buy. We always buy with customers in mind. So we buy a year in advance. So we're already picked out fabrics for spring, summer 2021. And those are already in here. And we're thinking, all right, this guy's gonna buy this guy's gonna buy this. This guy bought a blue jacket 2 years ago. He's ready for a new one. So we are always forward thinking when we buy.
That's interesting. So like for cars and stuff, you got our tires, you got a regular. So what's the sort of life expectancy of a suit that you would sell, or a sport coat, or something like that, something a little bit higher and something more formal?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think tailored clothing is such a watered down industry because people get fed so many misinformation. There's so much smoke and mirrors. People see a suit from Joseph A. Banker Men's Warehouse and they are like, this is $200. What makes this suit $2,000? It can't be that much different. But the quality in it will make the life expectancy of those garments go decades. We've got customers who come in and they say, I bought this suit from you guys when you first opened up 30, 40 years ago.
Wow.
If you treat it right, if you treat your clothing right, it'll treat you right. You should only be dry cleaning your suits 3 or 4 times a year. Some people do it every single time they wear it. And then they're all mad and they say, this suit fell apart. Like, yeah, you're lighting it on fire every week. Of course it fell apart. It's fabric.
Yeah.
So a lot of what we do is a lot of education. And the suits, just like Nike, they have their wicking polos. All of our suits has those wicking properties in it. So it's just taking something that people see every day, making it a little bit more familiar and putting it into their more luxury mindset.
What's something you can do if you don't, if you wear a suit? I don't know how often I don't wear suits, so I don't know how often you would wear a suit. Is it once a week, a couple times a week, and in between dry cleaning? I'm just curious. What's something you can do to keep it fresh, to clean it if there's a spot on it, or if it's just a little, whatever, worn?
Everybody's been out to dinner and you're sitting down and you take a bite and that little piece of like muscles like flies onto your sleeve and you're freaking out. So what you can do is you can take a little bit of baby powder and put it on the spot. The baby powder will actually pull out the moisture, so pull out the stain, and then you just kind of rub it out, spritz it with a little bit of water. That is like a very fast, easy thing. Always the best thing to do, dry clean it if there is a big stain. But in the meantime, what you should really be doing is keeping your suits, keeping your better clothing on hangers that have a wider shoulder pad, because inside the suit on the shoulder, there is a pad in there. Some have a little bit less, some have a little bit more, some have no padding at all. But if you have a wider hanger, it keeps the form of that pad. So instead of putting it on a thinner hanger and losing the shape, a wider hanger and will keep the kind of form of the garment, so that way when you put it on, it'll naturally sit on your body.
So how many wire hangers do you have in your closet?
So I have a couple of wire hangers, but all my like short sleeve shirts are on there. But every single suit I have is on a nice thick wooden hanger. I wouldn't even dare let one of my babies go near a metal hanger.
So short sleeve shirts on like that's not t-shirts, they're just like short sleeve shirts, like button down.
They're like
you don't hang your t-shirts.
I don't hang my t-shirts. I'm not that bougie. No, but I'm talking like, a couple casual short sleeve button down shirts. I'll put those on the wire hangers. But this is like a Robert Graham shirt, and I'll keep this on a wire hanger. And I mainly keep my wire hanger on like the sports shirts, more jean casual, but I keep more of my dress shirts on actual like a little bit heavier plastic hangers.
Yeah. So I remember chamber comes up a lot because a lot of folks I talk to are chamber. So you came in, you had a duffel bag or some sort of bag full of stuff, and you're pulling out all the jeans and t-shirts and short sleeve button downs, and you've certainly grown since those first few days. I think that was 6 years, something like that. That was a while ago.
It was a while back.
Yeah. So that's
awesome. Those are dark days in my past. I went in like full blown, but it was fun to kind of get a gauge of the community, because Daswani Clothiers is so ingrained in West Hartford Center and so ingrained in West Hartford as a community. And I worked in the center before Daswani over at Joseph A. Bank. And that's how I learned about Daswani. I kept hearing about it, and it's so amazing to me to see the difference of working for a big box office retailer, selling the same thing physically, not the same quality, selling the same thing, and then coming around the corner to work for a family shop. The night and day difference of support and integrity you have in your work is incredible, absolutely incredible.
Yeah. How did you get into clothing, men's clothing in particular?
So I am one of those tragic people who fell into retail. I had a whole life plan set out for myself. I have a bachelor's in history and secondary education, and I was going to Central to get my master's so I could teach. And while I was doing that, my parents were saying, you got to get a job, like something just to pay these bills. And I was doing a little bit here or there to pay myself through graduate school, and I was working at Express in West Farms Mall, and I became the nighttime manager. I started as part-time seasonal help, stuffing bags and running clothes. That's it. And then over the course of time, in about 8 months, I became manager, and then I became the brand manager, and I started really realizing I like this dynamic. And then when I was staying at work to fold the clothing after the store closed, I was there till 10 in the morning the next day sometimes. Wow. And then to go to school, everything was suffering. School was suffering, work was suffering. I decided I'll hold off on school, I'll focus on this. It's funny that you bring that up. I have a Twitter with like 4 tweets from 10 years ago, whatever. I never use it, but on April 19th, in 2012, I was at Express. I tweeted, if being a teacher doesn't work out, I wouldn't mind trying out high-end men's fashion. And that was 8 years ago.
Wow.
And here I am now.
Here you are.
You know, I never really saw that. And so I went from there. I went to Joseph A. Bank, started as an assistant manager, became the store manager, and then I've been here for about 4.5 years now.
And what's your title here?
Sales manager.
Sales manager. You're like the face of the Swanee Clothiers in
Yeah,
West Hartford. Yeah.
I definitely I put my face out there a little bit more. You know, I was blessed with such a gorgeous face. I figure, you know, I gotta extend it out to who I can. But it's fun because I am. It's just the nature of my personality. I like being in front of people. I like when people say like, "Oh, I never would have thought to put that and that together," and then talking to them about what their taste is, because it's a doorway. It opens up that communication to what's your taste? What do you like to wear? And then I can say, "Oh, well, we sell jeans that have like stretch in them. Like we sell shirts with contrast fabric in them. Like you can always wear that. You don't being dressed your best doesn't mean wearing a suit." And people need to know that. Like, you can just get pants that are the right length. You know, get a shirt that's the right size. Like, it's crazy that those are the little things.
Pants that are right length. Yeah, that's a big one. Let's start there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basic stuff.
Yeah.
That's basic stuff. No, it's cool. I think you're so you know, you're good with people. You talk to them, you listen to them. I think which is huge, because you need to kind of figure out it's about their personality a little bit and see what would fit with them. It's like, not only would it look good, but are they going to feel comfortable in it? Because it could look great, they could look amazing, but if they're not comfortable, they're not going to feel good. They're going to feel
absolutely.
It's better to better to look good than to feel good? Was it Saturday Night Live? But that's not true, right? You need to be able to feel good too.
Exactly. And these little things, like they become so a part of who you are. If you start paying attention to the details of your outfit, that will just create more of a detail-oriented mindset in who you are in your everyday life. Like if you're always thinking, all right, these pants work, this shirt works, everything that I buy, I am confident this works with my taste. That way, you are constantly going into your wardrobe every single day, because everybody has to get dressed. You pick out something. Your thought process isn't so heightened. Well, I like this shirt because like the sleeves look good, or I like this shirt because the body looks good. You're not constantly thinking about that. Pick things for your taste. And then that allows you to do what you actually do during the day to your fullest, instead of you constantly thinking about, oh, I've got this client to see, but damn, I wore the wrong shoes. Like these aren't my comfortable shoes. If you start focusing on those details, that trickles down to all you do in the rest of your life.
So you can own more than one style shirt and one pair of shoes and not worry about which one you're going to wear, right? Because my idea to make it simple is like, all right, I think black T-shirts, flannels, and Doc Martens are easy.
So my brother is he's the CEO of a company, and we have such ideological debates about this, because he takes the Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, I'm going to wear a T-shirt and jeans because I have so many other decisions to worry about, that if I simplify where I can, when I can, that's fine. And I'm like, that is all right, but you take that same principle, because I dress tons of other CEOs here. They know that it doesn't matter if they're presenting in front of this board, or they're presenting in front of these new investors, or whatever. They know that if they pull a suit out of their closet that I gave them, it's going to fit right, it's going to look right, it's going to match with every shirt that I gave them. That's what I do. So it's the same concept with a little bit more variety.
I love that.
You're not worrying about matching up colors. You know that that's already done.
So you've done all that work for them.
Exactly.
They come in, they get everything, and they know whatever they pull out, they can do it blindfolded.
It's like Granimals. It's the work's already done for you. That's what I
Awesome.
like to do. I want to know if you're a loud person, I'll give you more patterns. If you're not, I won't.
So 40, what did you say,
42 years.
42 years. How has the brand of Daswani sort of evolved? I don't know if you can go back 42 years, but I'm sure you've had some history being with the family for this many years. So let's start there. How has it evolved from when they first opened? Is it still the same? Do they still offer? Are they still doing what their mission statement was 42 years ago? Has it evolved from that? And then just in the short time you've been there, comparatively, how has it evolved since then?
Yeah, it's evolved night and day in certain aspects, and then stayed exactly the same in other aspects, which I think is fantastic, and it's kind of the keystone of most small businesses. You find out that one thing, and then as time goes on and more resources become available and technology speeds up, you use that to your advantage. So Jack Daswani, the founder, he actually started in this same location 40 years ago.
Wow.
Downstairs in the basement. It was like half barbershop and half tailor shop. And he had like 300 square feet, and he was just appointments only. And people would come to Hartford to do business, and then they would come see him. He would do the orders, he would mail them out weeks later. Then a spot opened up over on the corner of South Main and Sedgwick. And I probably hear it every single week. Oh my God, I remember when you were over there, like blah, blah, blah. And they were there for years. And the store was about 2,000 square feet. They sold men's and women's. And this is back in the 70s, 80s. Everybody was dressing well. It was such a status. The suits, I kind of think in the 80s, it was a little bit more like a suit was very much like a uniform. It was the equivalent of like the blue polo at Best Buy. Like if you did business, you wore a suit. It wasn't that much. There were a few people who like had a little flair or whatever, but it was like everybody had to go get it. Now it's not like that. About 15 years ago, this building became available. And so Jack Daswani decided, you know what, the center is really booming. Now's the time. This whole thing, the internet is becoming something. Foot traffic is really key. So we moved the business over here. We dropped women's, and now we work right back where he started 40 years ago. We take over this spot, and then about 6 years ago, his son took over the business, and then about 4 years, I came on board, and people are buying a little bit less. Back in the day, sales were much more about, all right, listen, I'll give you 3 shirts for this price. Everything was bargain shopping. You had the dawn of Macy's and Nordstrom's, and everything was the deal. And now it's not like that. People don't want the big deal. They want to know that they're getting quality product. And they also don't need 4 suits for the price of 1. They want 1 good suit because they're wearing it less often. So our inventory has definitely plummeted. We just don't need that much product anymore. So we have a little bit less, and it's nice because we can now focus on people. And with the heightened sense of being seen with the rise of social media, it's no longer I can just wear whatever because no one's going to see me, and then I'm going to wear the next thing the next day and no one's going to see me. Now, whatever you wear, chances are someone's taking a picture. You're going live on Facebook. You're going live somewhere. So now people are like, I need this jacket to work whenever. And we get the right jackets for the right people, and we give them to them at a really good price. It's luxury clothing. It's not cheap. But if you think about you're going to a lower-end store and you're rotating your suits every 2 years, and it's costing you $500 a pop, it's better to get the one suit that's $1,000 and have it last 15 years. It's cheaper buying that suit than it is just constantly like, oh, I'm so hard on my clothes, I'm going to blow out the pants anyway. Maybe you wouldn't blow out the pants if they were a little better quality.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is education, and I think that now with the internet, people are really, they walk in and they're like, there's so much information, just give it to me straight. People are very much aware of what the internet does to clothing and retail, and especially in our industry. They're like, all right, just tell me, like, why is this better than this? Give it to me. If it's too expensive, that's fine, I'll walk out, but I want to know why.
Yeah, I think that's true for a lot of things, that there was that time whenever that was, maybe it was the 90s or so, that people just were starting to buy really just, not just clothing, but cheap everything.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are tired of that. They're tired of having to replace their coffee pot every 2 years, or their shirt every six months, or whatever it is. So yeah, you're going to spend a little bit more up front, but then you're not going to worry about it for years.
It was
there.
It was that kind of in the Cold War, when we were talking with the Russians and they were like, look at America, we have the options. If you want a red fridge, blue fridge, white fridge, you can get that. And everybody bought into that. But then the prices dropped, and then everything got terrible. And then people were like, I don't need this many things.
Yeah.
Just give me the one good product.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing totally like a swinging of the pendulum going the other way.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you see it. It's like people are using the, I bring up coffee pots again, like not just Mr. Coffee, but they got the French press and all these.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Crazy stuff. I bought a old metal percolator. I've had that thing for years. Stainless, it just keeps going. Awesome. Anyway, your passion for clothing, did that really just come naturally? Is it because you said like you really kind of liked it? Did you always have like a like for clothing when you were younger? Did you always like matching up different things? That was kind of cool. Or did you just literally fall into this industry?
So I was raised in the church. I would go to mass every Sunday, and the church that we went to, we had to wear suits and ties. So I was familiar with tailored clothing. I always had a nice suit kind of in my closet. I met a lot of people in college that were like, I've never owned a nice suit because I've never needed one. The last time I wore a suit, I was, in graduating high school, and I'm totally different size now. So I always had a little bit more of like an inventory in that department, but no, I was never really the fashion guy or whatever. What I started to realize was when I took my passion for education, whether it be about history or whether it be about why this pant over this pant, those are the same it's the same skill set. It doesn't matter what you're doing. So I cared about giving that information to people. If I could make that applicable to this industry, I would like it. Then when I started reading more about fashion, looking more into it, I was like, oh, I love this. There's so much history behind why this. Why do you button one jacket button over two button jackets? You find out that it was because there was a fat king in England who couldn't button both, and out of respect, everybody around him only buttoned one.
Is that a true story?
Yeah, it's a true story.
That's insane.
And now everybody wears one button, and it's much more function because the most narrow part of the suit is that one button. So if you button two, it'll actually cause your jacket to bow open. So not only is it wrong historically, it's structurally incorrect. But for me, the backbone of all of this is people's stories. I love getting to know everybody's story, because everybody that comes in there is somebody's dad, and they're going to give away their daughter for a wedding. There's somebody that you're coming in for a new interview. They're starting a new venture. They're opening up a new business. They have been a customer for years, and they started shopping there when they first became, into the business world. I love hearing people's stories. I love hearing about people's kids. Like, oh, I wore this jacket to my son's, birthday party, and it was a big hit. Everybody was complimenting me. That's what I do it for. I can always hone in on the skill set. But when I learn about why people want this clothing and what they're doing with it and how it makes them feel, that's what drives me forward.
What about trends? Like, do you follow trends? I guess you have to follow fashion, right? But I think fashion and trends is a different thing.
Yeah, definitely. There's a big difference. And anything can be hot for a couple seasons, but we look a little bit away from that in a certain aspect of our guy, the guy who's coming in and willing to spend, say, $2,000 on a suit, he also has a sense of what he wants to look like. So we have to be able to bring stuff in here that is going to appeal to that gentleman. So we can't buy something that's going to be a hot new trend, because he's going to know that's going to be gone in a couple of years. He's been around the block. So we kind of we have to stay on top of it, because somebody's going to walk in that door and say, why don't you have any t-shirts that say Supreme across the front? And I'm going to be like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. But we have to stay on top of what patterns are big. Like plaid is huge now. Everybody wants like the big window pane and wearing sneakers. See, you're ahead of the curve. Everybody looks at Sports Center. I would say Sports Center is one of the best things for when you're looking at like trends of men's fashion. I'm going to wear a blue shirt with a t-shirt and sneakers with my suit. Like, it kills me. I die a little inside every single time I see those guys, and people come in, but our customer's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Or I'm going to do that, but with a twist. I'm going to make it not look so trendy and look a little bit more long-term. Like what I'm wearing are dress sneakers, and I can wear these with like these jeans, and I've got no problem wearing like a knit blazer, something casual with it. So you can take trends like dress sneakers are trendy today. I looked the other day on Zappos. There was a pair of $1,000 sneakers on there from Balenciaga. It's like, what? Yeah. No, like,
that's crazy.
Give me that money if you don't need it that much.
Yeah.
But we have to stay on top of it just so that way we are informed about the industry that we're in. But selling those trends, it's not a priority for us.
What would be like an inexpensive thing to do for somebody who doesn't have a lot of money? Maybe they already have like a suit and maybe a shirt or something, but they need a little something else to give them a little distinction, a little personality. What would be something simple that person could do to handle that?
Something that we've been pushing a lot more is a knit blazer. It's totally deconstructed. It's stretchy. It's more cotton. It's not always wool. You can easily throw it on over a t-shirt. You can throw it on over a button down. You can wear it with jeans. It's not supposed to be dressed up. Can you dress it up? Yes. But if, say, you're going out to dinner with your girlfriend's parents and you're just meeting them for the first time, you want to make a good impression, but you don't want to look too formal. You throw that on. It's something nice. It's easy. You can get it from kind of anywhere and it'll look nice. It's easy on the shoulders. It doesn't look formal with the big padding. Those are the little things that if you introduce that into your wardrobe, you can wear it with almost anything. And then you start to think, well, what else can I wear it with? And that'll force you to get another pair of pants, get a different shirt, get a knit tie. Those little things you can start out with really start to gear you in a way of how can I start to expand my wardrobe.
Nice. So here's a question I've been thinking about for a while now since we sat down. So Apple, right? Apple computers and stuff, they create things to start a trend, to start a style. Like they don't wait and be like, what do people want? They're like, no, this is what you're going to want. This is cool. Buy this because this is going to change your world. And they just make people buy stuff. I don't say you do that, but is there something like that where you sell like a new style or bring in a new style? Like, listen, check this out. This is new. Or do you just really just cater to whatever anybody wants? They come in, it's like, this is what I want, so you give them that. Like customers always right kind of thing, not so much.
It's a little bit of both, but also it does gear more toward when that product does become available, it's little. It's not always something like a game changer. Take, for instance, Untuck It. Untuck It is a perfect example of this is what you're going to wear because this is what all the cool guys wear. Untuck It makes my blood boil because dress shirts are about 1.5 inches longer than sport shirts naturally. Sport shirt being something like this, casual, something with a pattern you can wear with jeans. What they did is they just named that gap, that difference. And they said, here's our Untuck It shirt. It's shorter. You can wear it out. You don't have to tuck it in. That's how shirts were always.
So that was always a thing. They were called sports shirts.
Yeah, you just named it. Yep. So people aren't always aware of what they have available to them. And then when something does take over, look at plaid suits, window pane suits. Everybody's wearing window pane suits, just the big boxes. You look at it everywhere. And then you look back into the late 70s, early 80s, everybody's wearing window pane. So it's like these things are just always around. They're always available to you. It's when somebody realizes, oh, I want that. But now what we are seeing is like performance fabric is huge. Suits that stretch, suits that are machine washable. These are like the Apple, I want a suit that I can throw in my suitcase, and when I get to where I'm going, I can pull it out and go right to my meeting. these are the things, but they take time.
Sure.
Because the textiles, they don't have that kind of ability. You can't just fine tune it here or there. So we have to actually kind of wait and test all of these. So our manufacturers actually put new textiles through a battery of tests to make sure that they can actually be dry cleaned multiple times. They're not going to warp, that they are going to stand and not wrinkle, like all of these things that we actually have to test before they go right into the consumer's hand.
What would happen if you took a dry clean only suit and threw it in the washing machine?
So my brother did that, and not the CEO, this another brother, my brother Nick, and he came to me and he was like, dude, like this suit, like, I don't know why you like suits so much. This thing is falling apart. And I was like, well, what'd you do to it? He was like, well, I put it in the wash. It was dirty. I was like, you did what? And I was like, you broke it. You broke the suit. Like, you know, it's like, are you going to put your phone in the wash if it's dirty? Like, there are certain things that you just have to do. This is how you have to clean this thing. So it will immediately fall apart. Like
it's just not, what is it? Is it the water? Is it the rough and tumble? What is it that prevents you from putting a dry clean only suit or whatever into the wash?
So a suit, like if you had a jacket right now, you've got the outer piece of fabric, then underneath it you have the canvas, then inside of it you have the lining. So all of these things on a really high-end suit, they're all hand stitched in. So you take thread like horsehair or something, and the tailor is actually going in and sewing it in. And when you bend, the jacket actually moves with you. It's actually malleable to your body. All of those properties are there because it's actually hand stitched in. So when you hang it on your wide hanger, it sits there nice and neat and it maintains its integrity. If you put it in the dryer and the wash, those threads are getting ripped apart. The canvas is shrinking. The fabric is getting it's getting waterlogged. That's what's happening in there. And then when it goes to the dryer, it's game over. You might as well just, tie it to the back of your car and drive around.
So those like sheets you can buy, it says like dry clean your clothing in the dryer and throw this sheet in there. Like, you don't recommend that?
I don't. I see those products. They're a little gimmicky. But if you've got a $2,000 suit and you want to try it, be my guest and let me know. I'm not risking it on mine or something that I can sell. There are certain things that are dry clean only, like shirts and sweaters, like those kind of things. Some of those are okay to put in the wash and then hang dry. But for the most part, just dry clean. And again, when people think about dry cleaning, they're like, oh my gosh, I got to do this all the time. Something like a nice suit, you only have to dry clean it 3 or 4 times a year, and it's $20, $30.
Yeah.
It's not going to break the bank.
Yeah, it's amazing how inexpensive dry cleaning really is. If you go, it's I'm going to say it's affordable. I mean, it's just that little bit of money. If you spend, whether it be a suit or a shirt, you spend $150 on a shirt, and you're going to have it for years. You spend $6 to dry clean it.
Absolutely.
It's totally worth the investment.
It really, it really is. And one big struggle in my life is gifts. People always want to be like, oh, Matt loves fashion. We'll get him a shirt. And somebody gives me a shirt from like LL Bean or something like that, and I'm like,
I'll take it.
Like, yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just give it to me. I'll take it.
So I have like a couple shirts, and I'll wear them. And I'll wash them or something, and then after a couple months, they're falling apart. Threads are popping out, and I show people. I'm like, look, here's a perfect example. And I don't show the person that gave me the gift, but I show other people just like, this is what happens, But I got this shirt for whatever, $180. And it's lasted me 5 years.
Yeah. And they just feel better too. I mean, I have a couple nicer shirts I spent some money on, and I put them on. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's nice. Yeah, they're good. They're good quality. How have you had to adapt now that people can't come? I'm sure you have. You get the people that say, I'm going in, I know what I want, I'm going to buy this, and then you have the folks that come in and they're just they have no idea. Well, that's a good question first. So the person who comes in off the street, never bought a suit before, really no idea anything about fashion, how do you begin with that person?
Yeah. So we get a lot of people who come in, I'm looking for a suit, and I'm like, all right, well, we've got a couple of those laying around. There's always some corny icebreaker and just loosens the mood. For me, it's all about taking the severity out of it, usually showing them a suit, showing them the suit I want to sell them is step 15. For me, it's about getting to know them, talking to them, why us, why they walk in our door, why do they feel like they need a suit for this occasion, because I can't throw out a number, but there are so many instances where somebody says, I need a suit, I'm going to a wedding, all my suits are terrible. I'm like, well, where's the wedding? And they're like, oh, Newport. Well, when is it? It's in August. God, I don't want to put you in a suit. I want to put you in a pair of pants and maybe a button down. And what's the dress code? Oh, it's business or it's formal? Like, okay, cool. Then I'll put you in a sport coat. But I'll put you in a linen sport coat. I'll put you in linen pants. You can mix and match. The outfit's going to look a little bit better. You're going to look appropriate. So I try to talk about, like, do you actually need whatever the product is that you're saying that you need? Talk to them about that. Also, get to know them about, like, try, without prying, try to gauge their price, their wallet. If they come in, they want a suit for $150, nah, I'm sorry. Like, I can show you why ours aren't that,
right,
but this is not the place that you're gonna shop. For us, it's a lot of education. It's a lot of talking to them. And then for me, it's just about showing them options. Because in that store, I've got suits for $200. I've got for $500. I've got for $1,500 and $2,000, anywhere in that range. And I'm going to show them, these are the range. Where do you feel comfortable? I'll show you how this matches up to the next thing closest to it. And we can talk about that. So I want to uncover every single stone as I'm going through the process. Some people don't really care. You know, they walk in, my budget's X, I want this, oh, I like that, cool. Those people are awesome. Every industry has that easy customer, that easy sale. That's not the norm. It's always a little bit of education, and then I try to show them, I'm like, listen, even if you don't buy the shirts from us, even if you don't buy the ties from us, I'm going to show you shirts and ties that work with this. So that way when you're out by yourself and you see a tie that looks like this and it's a third of the price, you buy it. I try to make myself more of a resource to them than anything else. I tell people all the time, you don't need to buy shirts from us. Our shirts are expensive. Mm-hmm. I'd rather see you put the dollars into the suit. What usually happens, and I love this because it's true, people see that, they respect that, they know that I genuinely care about them. More often than not, later they come back and buy the shirt. They buy it right then and there.
So you're not their salesperson, you're their fashion liaison.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fashion consigliere.
I love
Put that on my little scroll.
Yeah, put that on there. I love it. Put it on your suit.
Yeah.
What's the percentage of Daswani clothing in your closet?
Depending on... So this is going to be the most bougie thing.
Can the boss hear this? Is that
yeah.
Right?
So this is going to be the most bougie thing, but depending on department. So if you go in, my closet is actually a room. My girlfriend and I moved into an apartment. It has a 3-bedroom, and I took the 3rd bedroom, and most people would make it a home office. I made it a closet.
Well, that's your office, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That is my office, and all of my tailored clothing, meaning suits, sport coats, that's all Daswani, 100%. Because I never, and I've been in this situation, be in that store, have somebody come in and say, I like that, where is it? And I don't have it. I'd be like, oh, I got it from this place.
You can't.
That kills it.
Yeah.
Absolutely kills the sale, you know? So no, all of that stuff I wear. The rest of it, my jeans, honestly, majority of my clothing is from Daswani. Stuff that I can't get, my shoes, I'll probably get somewhere else. We don't do shoes here. My socks, I'll get those all over the place. I got my Sock Stars socks on right now. Yep. But this jacket's from Daswani, my jeans, this shirt. You know, we sell such a wide variety, honestly, most of it. And I like it because then I could say with pride and confidence to a customer, oh, you want to buy something casual? Here, I'll give you jeans and a Robert Graham shirt. Why do I know it works? Because I wear it, you know, because I know it works.
Yeah, that's like going to a Ford dealer and the guy drives a Chevy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, it's the same concept. So no, all of my big ticket items are all Daswani, and you know, most of the stuff I'll try to put custom just because I try to add my own flair onto it.
Yeah. What's you're staying here? You have no. I mean, you love it here. It seems like.
Love
I mean,
it.
you love it. There's no plans. There's no thoughts. Have people come up to you different, and they're like headhunters, and some like, hey man, you want to come and?
All the time.
Really?
I can't even count on 18 hands how many times a year insurance company or somebody. I need a recruiter, something like that. But no.
So not even clothing, just a
any
completely
industry,
different industry.
any industry that has a forefront of sales. Hospitality, somebody asked me to be the general manager of a hotel once. I was like, oh, what? I don't know anything about that. You should not be even asking that question. But I try to be so confident in what I am and try to have that come across. I have a stack of business cards, mainly because I'm keeping them so I can sell them something, because there's a reason they're in my store giving it to me. So I keep it just for that reasons. But no, I've got no reason to leave, no plan to leave. I love the community. I love, the relationships I've built over the time. And, I recently moved, and like I said, and I used a bunch of chamber members for that. I'm always looking for ways to patronize these people. And, it's come back tenfold,
Yeah.
I can't stand that you get what you put in. That's not true. I get 10 times what I put in.
Yeah.
I go to a weekly chamber meeting. It's an hour of our time?
Yeah.
But my life has been so enriched by it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's not even work for you. It's that's what it is.
It's fun,
It's just not even work. You can tell that. I think it's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun, and weddings are a big part of my business. And if I can actually if you feel comfortable enough for me to dress you on your big day, oh my God, that's cloud 9 for me.
That's awesome. I want to get into a little bit about current affairs.
Yes.
Right. So, we talked about on chamber meetings and other Zoom meetings and things like that about how this current lockdown and COVID-19 and all this stuff has really affected everybody. And there's been a lot of focus on, helping restaurants and other businesses, which I think is fabulous. But there really hasn't been a lot of talk about helping just retail folks, like you folks, where people can't just come in off the street and buy a shirt. They need a shirt, but they can't just walk in. Obviously you thought about how to help those folks. How have you adapted to help those folks? Because I'm guessing, sorry for the long question, I'm guessing that you have your regular customers that kind of know what they want. They call you up, say, I need this, this, and this, and that's easy. But for the guy who doesn't know he needs something, doesn't know what, have you adapted to help those folks out?
It's really interesting, and I think that this answer it should be so true for businesses going through this, where we've been forced to kind of step back, look at what our business is, what are our pillars, what's our mission statement, and now how can we make that work in the current situation? What resources are available to us? And when you ask about, how has Daswani changed, here's another example of how we've needed to change. And so for us, it's all about delivering product with integrity, delivering product to a higher end customer, but also building relationships. And that I know that I've got a customer's birthday next week. I can call him up or I have his wife's number, and I can be like, hey, you want to get him a Christmas or a birthday present? Here's a couple pictures, text them, I'll mail you the product. 80% of the business from small businesses comes from 20% of their customers. That classic rule.
Yeah.
Right now, I think everybody's really need to lean on to those 20%. And I've got customers that have texted me and say, hey, let me know when you're open and I can come back and patronize you. And I'm saying, you know what, I'm open now. What do you
awesome.
need? We can't do business in the store, but you trust my taste? Yeah. All right, let me send you a box of clothing. So we've started doing a trunk club, was something that got introduced a couple of years ago. Nordstrom's ended up buying it, but now we're starting to do a little bit of that. So if I've got a customer named Tom, I can be like, all right, Tom's an XL. He loves loud prints. He probably needs a couple jeans, a couple casual pairs of pants. All right, Tom, I'm going to send you 5 items. You keep them all, I'll give you 20% off. You don't like them, send them back. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. Now that's what we're doing.
So you're just sending your customers clothing.
Send them product.
Here, take what you want, you know, and then they'll pay you, I guess. I don't know how that works, but that is, that talk about trusting your customer. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real relationship.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I think that retail and a lot of industries are going to be completely different when this whole economy gets back to work and COVID is over. I think that people are really going to be shaken up that things weren't so secure back then. You know, we thought we had it good. It's almost like when your nose is stuffed and then you constantly think about like all the times you took for granted your nose was unstuffed and you can just breathe clearly.
Yeah.
It's the same concept of like, wow, like I thought 2008 was tough. No, I can still open in 2008.
Yeah.
This, I cannot open my door. I cannot give you product to try on because we have to be 6 feet apart. That's a game changer of a difficulty, of a barrier. And people are really, I think they're going to start looking at new ways that they can do their business. And the fact that I can, send clothing to a customer, and we did have one concern that was like, well, what happens if they send the whole box back and they tried everything out? Now it's all contaminated. So far, we've had 100% success because we know our customers that much. I send you a box, they're going to keep it because they like it, because we know them. You know, I know them, they know me, they know that I'm not going to send them something that they don't want. I'm not sending them 3 suits. I'm sending them hoodies so they can lounge around and work from home. I'm sending them, a button down in case they have a Zoom meeting, or a polo. That's what I'm sending them. So I'm also not just adapting as a salesman that I am trying to push big ticket items. I'm adapting to what my customer is doing right now.
Again, in the fashion, right? The fashion, I guess you could say the fashion has changed because, we're not going to the office buildings anymore. We're home, and you're not going to sit in front of your computer with a full 3-piece suit on. It's just not going to happen, right? You're going to wear the polo or the nice sweatshirt type top thing, whatever it is. Completely different. I think that's awesome. What a great service, and 100% success rate.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. Awesome. It's been fun to kind of try to launch it and do it, but then for us, it's like we realize, we do have a lot of capabilities to do more of this selling. We never needed it before because customers could always come here. But now it's like, well, once everything is back to normal, we should probably keep this momentum up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our customers move out of state, but they love us so much and they love the relationship and the product, they want to maintain that relationship. One of my best customers lives in Atlanta. He's never lived in Connecticut. He comes here for business twice a year. Every time he comes to the store, and I'm like, oh boy, here he is. And, he'll let me know when he comes, and that way I can have everything ready. I'll open the store early for him. These are the kind of relationships that now I can also be like, hey, Bill, can I send you some product?
Yeah. Yeah. So is that something you think you're going to keep up once we do actually reopen?
Not just keep up, but vamp up, like really, really see what that ability is. And because before there were so many, well, we can't do this because what if we send somebody a product and then, they try it on, they get a deodorant stain on it, then we got to dry clean it, then that shirt's all different. There were so many like reasons why we shouldn't, but now that we're seeing it in practice work, well, all right, now we're, our foot's in our mouth. There is a market for this, so let's run with it.
It's one of those things where, there may be a little bit people return stuff, but I think the benefit you're getting, it far outweighs any kind of negative.
Absolutely.
I mean, extremely.
And it'll affect how we buy also, because then we used to buy a couple basic things just to kind of have around the store, but maybe now we'll buy a ton of basic things. That way, those are the things that we're sending to people. Hey, just here's a new polo for the spring season,
What else, what other kind of changes do you envision going forward? Things that you maybe thought about, didn't implement, maybe brand new ideas?
Yeah.
Anything like that?
There's been even before this, we've seen a big uptick in custom clothing. And people are, the people that are wearing suits, most people are not wearing tailored clothing just to go to work, just to sit in a cube. If they're wearing it, it's an event. They've got a presentation. They're going, to Vegas for something. They're doing something like that. And it's very few and far between that they're doing these things. So now people are saying to themselves, if I'm going to get a suit, I want it to be my suit. So we're looking into like how to make custom clothing a much bigger presence, because it's something that the store was founded on. We've always really had, but then in like the 80s, 90s, when people just wanted, I want it now and I want a ton of it, custom kind of died off, but now people are wearing tailored clothing a little bit less. We're seeing custom clothing go back up. So we're really looking into like how do we push that a little bit more? How do we make it easier? How do we make the turnaround a little bit faster? How do we make the price a little bit more affordable? Those are the kind of avenues that we're looking at, because the customer wants it, we're in Connecticut. You got Greenwich down,
Mm-hmm.
an hour away. Those people have a ton of money. The money's not the problem.
Sure.
It's finding the product,
Sure.
putting it in the right way for the customer.
Sure. Yeah, I think you're right. Money's not the problem. There's plenty of money. It's just getting. That brings me up to before the internet, before social media, before all this stuff. Was it Jack, the
Yep.
owner, the founder? Jack was able to grow his business. Do you know how he did that without, the use of? Did he advertise on TV? Did he do newspaper advertising? How did he, or was it just word of mouth? How did he build his business so big?
So when he had the other store, before the internet and everything, it was all, classic advertising, radio, TV, billboards. There was one billboard that kind of got him in a little hot water. It was like, come naked and we'll do the rest. It was like on I-84 or something like that.
You should revive that.
I know, right?
Awesome,
In cancel culture, we would be like sued in 5 minutes. But he really did a lot of advertising. Before that, he was a direct seller, meaning that he would rent out a room in a hotel, and he would post up like billboards, and he would say, Jack Daswani, custom clothier, shirts, 4 shirts for whatever, $200. And people would come, he would make appointments, they'd go in, they'd order their shirts, and then weeks later he'd mail them to them. So it was a big direct selling business.
So they would come to the hotel, they would get measured and everything.
Measured,
he would make
the
shirts.
Yep, he would make them and send them back out to them.
Was it? You said Jack Daswani. Was it called Jack Daswani and he shortened it to Daswani Closure, or was it always Daswani?
It was always Daswani Clothiers.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Listen, man, it's getting a little busy out here.
Yeah.
So, anything else that you really want to tell us about that's happening at your store that you want people to know about before we wrap it up?
I think that I really want to let people know that we're available. We're always open, and our store is much more than the suit store. Everybody says, I've walked by your store 1,000 times, I've never popped in. I don't need a suit, so I'm not going to come in. I can't afford your whatever suit, so I'm not going to come in. Just come in. Let's have a conversation. Come in, I'll show you a pair of jeans. We won't even look at the suit wall. Come in, I can get to know you, I can show you a pair of shorts. I've got plaid shorts in the store right now for that summer barbecue that you've got. Red, white, and blue plaid shorts. I sold a pair of pink shorts with flamingos on them last year. We had them, they were a huge hit. So our store is a lot more than what people think it is. Our store is really adapted to the culture of what people are wearing today. And it's also a very personal thing. What I like to tell people is that think of me like a financial advisor. You go to me for advice. I'm not there to sell you anything, really. I want to talk to you and give you advice. If you need a haircut, you go to a barber. If you need financial advice, you go to a financial advisor. If you need wardrobe advice, you come to me. That's how I like to set this up.
I love it. Yeah, guys, check out Daswani right here. What's the address? It's Farmington Ave?
959 Farmington Avenue.
959 Farmington Ave, right here in West Hartford Center. Matt, so good to have you.
Such a pleasure, Dave.
We got great weather. I'm glad we were able to do this sit down, and we got the awesome backdrop.
Yeah.
So, all right, man, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Check us out every week. We're still going every week. It's been good. So that's it. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, sir.